Sick and tired of your love-hate relationship with wine?
Welcome to the Feel It Alcohol-Free podcast. Hi, I'm Coach Ruby Williams.
And I'm Coach Susan Larkin.
We're two former wine lovers turned alcohol freedom coaches, exposing the lies about alcohol.
And giving you, our listeners, the tools to break free so you can feel lit.
And when you're lit, you'll feel healthier, freer, and more in control of your life.
So relax, kick back, and get ready to feel lit alcohol-free.
And don't forget, grab a copy of our wine-free weekend guide after the show. Welcome. We are back with another episode and a special guest. We have Amelia South. She's here. Welcome, Amelia. So excited to have you here. I'll do a little bio and then we're going to get started. But Amelia is a foraging instructor, practicing herbalist, and a gut health expert living on her small organic farm in Connecticut. And it's named Black Sun Farm. And she just loves helping people heal with the power of nature and plants and by escaping the toxic Western diet. Yeah. And we're going to talk about that toxic alcohol as well. But yeah, so go ahead and introduce yourself. And I'd love to hear a little bit of background, on your whole, how you got to where you are and anything about alcohol too, because this is what we talk about, being alcohol free.
I'm Amelia. I started this farm shortly after I bought this house. My house is basically not super duper suburbs. It's a little sort of between rural and suburbia. It's not out in the middle of the woods, but it's definitely not in a city by any means. And it was just a yard, and now it's a farm because I've busted my butt building everything here. But I'm also an herbalist, so I started studying herbalism really, really intently back in 2018 when I was about to lose my health insurance. So I was like, okay, well, either I can spend $500 on this herbalism certification class and learn how to heal myself, or I can try to pay $400 or $500 a month on crappy insurance. That's still not going to help me. So I said, all right, I'm done. And I started learning. I'd already been dabbling before that. I started foraging in 2006 and I started dabbling in herbalism in 2009 when my daughter was born. So by the time 2018 rolled around, I'd already done some stuff. I was just nope, whole hog, throw myself into it. And then at the beginning of last year is when I really threw myself seriously into my business and everything. So I'd already been making some content on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and whatnot, but it kind of blew up. So yeah, it blew up last year.
That's so great.
Anyway, so we are smack dab. It's tomorrow is June in the middle of farming season right now.
Right.
So I'm kicking myself because I've still got a few onions sitting on the porch that haven't gone in the ground. And I'm oh, I got to do this. But anyway,
life of a farmer.
Yeah. So exactly. Something is always happening or going wrong or breaking or, needs to get planted right this second. And you haven't always got time. But I also forage. So I teach foraging I in person and online. Through my content, or I go to people's houses and I actually walk them around their property and show them what's edible and medicinal in their yard.
Wow.
And I teach how to make herbal medicines while I do that. I'm teaching a foraging walk tomorrow, actually. So yeah, I do this and I absolutely love teaching people how to heal themselves because there's a lot of it has to do with diet. That's why I say the toxic Western diet. They call it SAD, the standard American diet, which is, going to McDonald's or eating Doritos.
It sounds so sad.
It's standard American diet is horribly
very
toxic.
sad.
And from what I've seen, at least, I don't know if you're on TikTok at all, but from what I've seen a lot on TikTok, people are finally starting to wake up to this. And a lot of millions of people are freaking out okay, well, now I know that these corporations are poisoning our food. How do I eat? How do I find good, healthy food? And that's where a lot the disconnect. They're well, I can go to the grocery store. Where else do I even find food? And I'm trying to teach people that too. Yeah. You don't necessarily have to become a farmer and grow it all yourself, but there are ways you can find locally grown food, whether it's, preferably organic, but at least ethically grown and sustainably grown. So I'm trying to teach all that stuff because gut health is really, really, really important. And that's where the whole alcohol thing comes in. I was very, very stressed out for a very, very long time. I used to drink. So one thing I will tell you, I'll start off back. I think it was 2018 or 2019, because I was drinking at least 2 glasses of wine every night, sometimes more. And I would drink like a whole bottle of wine on a Saturday night, maybe even more than that.
Yeah,
But
really
I would
relate.
drink a lot. I was very stressed out, and I didn't like myself very much. So like that's I realized that the wine, for the first thing that changed, like while I was even still a drinker, the red wine I realized was causing inflammation, because I had horrible back pain for years. And to the, like, one day I just said, all right, let me just see. I'll just try and see, and stop drinking the wine. I stopped drinking wine for like 2 weeks. I was switching. I don't remember what I switched to. I was switched to some other alcohol for like 2 weeks. And as soon as I stopped drinking the red wine, my back pain went away. It went from like a 10 to a 1. And I was like, holy crap. So that was part of it. And that's not to say, I still was drinking. Like, I basically ended up switching to drinking scotch, which in some ways was worse, because, you can overdo it very easily on scotch. Yeah. So yeah, I was still drinking at the time, but I do want to mention that. And in all cases, every time you drink too much, if you've ever drank too much in your life, every single time you drink too much, or you get actually drunk and you wake up hungover the next morning, the first thing you say is, why the hell did I do that? Why did I do that? I feel like crap. I don't know why I keep making these stupid decisions, whether you're puking or you've got diarrhea or whatever. Basically what you have done is poisoned all the good bacteria in your gut.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, well, hopefully we all know by now that your gut has bacteria. Your gut has good bacteria inside and bad bacteria inside. And there is a condition, so there's 2 things I want to talk about. Leaky gut, number 1, which I can explain in a second. And the second one is going to be gut dysbiosis. Okay. So leaky gut, I'll give you my explanation, because this is the easiest way to understand what leaky gut is. Imagine your intestines are one of those long, skinny rubber balloons, like the kind of clown makes balloon animals from. Okay. So when your intestines are working properly, absorbing all the nutrition from your food and the vitamins and minerals and everything's working great. The outside of that balloon is made of rubber. When you've developed leaky gut, think of the outside of that balloon being made of cheesecloth. So the food goes in your stomach, starts working its way down the cheesecloth balloon, and while most of it still works its way through and turns into poop like it's supposed to, little microscopic bits and pieces and particles are able to escape through the cheesecloth into your body cavity. And your immune system says, oh crap, ham sandwich is supposed to stay inside the digestive tract. It's not supposed to be out here touching our liver, our pancreas, our gallbladder, and our other organs. So your immune system starts attacking those little pieces of food, particles of food, because that's what your immune system is built to do. It's built to protect you from outside pathogens, outside invaders. The problem arises when this continues happening. So day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, every single time you eat, little pieces of food particles are escaping into your body cavity. Wow. And your immune system ends up having no choice but to go into overdrive. And that ends up causing things like autoimmune disorders, fibromyalgia, IBS, chronic candida. It's related to a lot of horrible problems that just people are not even aware of. And one of the things that causes leaky gut, one of the most common major factors of leaky gut, is drinking too much alcohol.
Really? Okay.
Because yes, drinking too much alcohol. The 2 main causes, most common causes of leaky gut, are drinking too much alcohol and overuse of antibiotics. Okay. So, and I'm not saying all antibiotics are bad all the time, but most people know by now that a lot of doctors prescribe antibiotics for a lot of things that they don't necessarily have to. Yeah, like people are giving you antibiotics when you've got the flu. Antibiotics aren't going to do anything for a virus. So they just do it anyway to shut you up, basically, and get you out the door. And people go and take these antibiotics, and the antibiotics go in and kill absolutely everything in your gut. And then it causes dysbiosis. Dysbiosis is when basically the number of bad bacteria outnumber the good bacteria. Okay. So what you want in your gut is way more good bacteria and very little bad bacteria. And this is very, very simplified, obviously. But
obviously, yeah.
But there's a normal range of some of the bad bacteria being in your gut. Like people freak out about H. pylori because H. pylori, I've heard that's what causes ulcers, and that causes a million different problems. And H. pylori causes problems when there's an overgrowth of it. when there's way too many of it. Basically, like if there's 100 H. pylori bacteria in your gut, you got no problem. They're supposed to be there. If you got 10,000 H. pylori or 10 million in, that's a problem. That's when it starts causing a problem. So what you want is, it's called eubiosis, which is when the balance is way more healthy, good bacteria and hardly any of the bad bacteria. That's what you want. And when you stop drinking alcohol, it helps when you reduce it. But basically what happens, and a lot of people, I walk through this journey, they'll be like, well, I drink, but I only drink once a month with my friends, and I have this just a party, and it really helps me de-stress. And I'm like, well, that's fantastic. But you got to understand, you spend 28 days building up your gut, eating the right foods, eating probiotics, helping heal that leaky gut and fix all the problems. And then you have this one weekend with your friends and binge drink, and it kills all the good work you just did for a month.
So I ask a question really quick? So what you're saying alcohol does is it kills the good bacteria. Well,
it kills the bad bacteria too. But the problem is a lot of bad bacteria strains have developed have you ever heard of antibiotic resistant bacteria like staph and stuff like that? Bacteria in your gut are the same way. That's not all of them, but there's still a small number of them that are like, F you, we're going to live anyway through the alcohol poisoning. And the problem is the alcohol kills all the good guys way faster. And the bad guys are like, nope, we're just going to, stick our roots here and stay.
I want to pin this. So even drinking once a month, it is affecting your gut biome.
It's going to damage all the repair work that you've been doing for weeks, because it takes some time. Healing your gut from when you've got really, really bad dysbiosis, you're really messed up, bad leaky gut, it can take upwards of a year. 6 months to a year to heal your gut. Yeah. Well, and every time you drink, if you just have a teeny weeny little, a half a glass of beer or something, you're probably okay. If you were to once a month have one single beer, you would probably be okay, because they can handle a little bit of that. But if once a month you're having an 8-ounce glass of, vodka, you're just going in there and murdering all the good work you just did. Wow. So, and I say murdering because they're alive. The bacteria, they're alive. They're helping you digest and everything.
What are the symptoms of leaky gut? So if people, if they're drinking, they probably have it. But
if you're drinking regularly, there's a very good chance you've got it at least on some level. It's not just one series of symptoms, because leaky gut can be the root base cause of so many different things. That's why I was saying, if you've got candida, which is an overgrowth of yeast, you're getting yeast infections, or ringworm, or tinea versicolor, any of those skin fungal infections, you've probably got something related to leaky gut. If you have major brain fog going on, fibromyalgia, again, autoimmune disorders really can be incredibly improved. I'm not going to say you can cure yourself. Some people have cured themselves from autoimmune disorders, but I don't want to say that, because I don't know you, I don't know your body, that kind of thing. Yeah. But you can absolutely improve the symptoms that you're dealing with by healing your gut. When people heal their gut, they no longer have the ADHD and autism. Again, I'm not saying those conditions don't exist by any means, but there's a huge difference between somebody who has ADHD and is eating the standard American diet, who has really bad symptoms, versus somebody who has ADHD and is eating a clean, whole foods diet. They're not drinking alcohol. They're eating vegetables and meat and fruit and things like that. For the most part, 90% of your diet is good. They are much more able to stay calm, comprehend things, think about things properly. The symptoms of ADHD are way more manageable when you're feeding that person a healthy diet. Yeah. And again, not killing all the good bacteria with alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes a huge difference. And there's thousands of studies on this at this point. So
yeah.
Yeah. In preparation for our talk today, I watched a documentary on the gut biome, so I could, have a conversation with you. And what I heard, and it just stuck with me because it was very clever, is ABCs. Always be counting your fruits and vegetables and try to get 20 to 30 different fruits and vegetables a week. And I was like, oh, I'm going to start like doing that.
It's not that hard.
I know.
Yeah.
But,
well,
what
I
do you
tell
recommend?
people eat the rainbow.
Eat the rainbow. Yeah, that's
I love that.
Eat the rainbow, number one. So like if your plate of dinner can have different colors in it, that's fantastic. And remember, rice counts as a vegetable, bean counts as a vegetable, or any kind of plant material qualifies under that fruits and vegetables kind of thing. So, and that doesn't mean corn chips because
right.
I'm talking about the actual. And even then, I will go on my farmer high horse here for a minute and say that corn sucks. Corn is just it's basically sugar. It's sugar and carbs, and there's nothing to it. There's nothing healthy about it. Yes, it's fun to eat corn on the cob once in a while in the summertime, and that's great. That's a treat. But treat you eating corn on the cob not as a healthy vegetable part of your meal, but more like, well, this is like a dessert kind of thing. This is a once in a while treat I can have because I can't swear on this, can I? I shouldn't be swearing, but there's something that I'm sorry. There's just a phrase that the very first farm I ever worked at, the farmer that I was working for, I asked him, like I got there, I was like, I'd never farmed before. I'd gardened before, but I'd never farmed before. And I said, what kind of things do you grow here? And he was naming off some vegetables and things like that. And I said, do you grow pumpkins? He's like, no, it's just a waste of time to grow too many pumpkins. It brings too many people here and then they tromp on stuff, blah, blah, blah. I said, do you grow corn? And I'm going to not swear because you can guess the word that he said, but he said, no, corn is just poop confetti. And I said, you know what? If you think about it, when it comes back out again, you're right.
Yeah.
There's nothing that gets digested with corn.
Oh my
it's still
gosh.
there.
Oh my gosh. I knew you were going to talk about poop. I just knew it. I knew you were going to go there.
Well, you can't talk about gut health without talking about poop.
Right.
Honestly.
Right.
Well, one of the things that you realize, like if you have diarrhea all the time, you have leaky gut. You've got a major gut problem going on.
Drinking. That was
and
me.
Every time I drank, like if I drank more than one or two drinks, which would happen almost every week, I would wake up the next day just diarrhea all morning. It was horrible. I know that's not a fun thing to talk about, but it's the truth. And that's you. Your body is saying, why are you poisoning us?
Yes.
Please stop. We can't deal with this. You're killing all the good bacteria, pushing everything out of your system. And then it takes weeks to try to build up again and get healthy again. And then you binge again. And it's just a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Vicious cycle.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I have that. When I even smell alcohol now, it feels like my gut even, and I don't know if it just feels like, it's like my gut flips a little bit, like, cause I was pouring out some alcohol cause we had company and it's like, it's almost like my gut just flips and goes, oh no, lady, you're not going there, are you? Like, no more. It's like, and the poop thing. Oh my gosh. My daughter and I have the funniest story where I was driving her home from college from Tennessee and we're in the bathroom and I'm like, when did we have corn? And she starts laughing so hard. So that's
like
just
3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, exactly. So every now and then I'll just go, when did we have corn? And we just start cracking up because it's like our little inside joke.
I realized my body didn't like corn when I would go to the movies. And why do I feel horrible after every movie and eating popcorn? And
well,
then
part of that actually, honestly, at the movie theater, the stuff that they put on the popcorn or the stuff that they cook it in is crap. Like I love eating popcorn. I end up, if I make myself popcorn, it's a rare treat, but if I do, I will make myself popcorn once in a while. And what I do is I get a pot on my stove, I put some coconut oil in it, and I melt a layer of coconut oil, and then I put the quarter cup or whatever of the popcorn kernels in, and I pop it myself on the stove in the coconut oil. You can also do it in bacon fat too. That's actually really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then your popcorn tastes like bacon. But what happens is that at the movie theater, they used to, like 20, 30 years ago, they actually used to cook all their popcorn in coconut oil the same way. And it tasted wonderful. And now what they're doing is cooking it in different like seed oils that are really, really bad for you. They don't digest. And it's usually what they put on the popcorn or what they're cooking it in, plus the fake butter that's made with the fake crappy oils and the flavoring. It's just garbage. Whereas if you make it yourself, like I said, coconut oil or bacon fat, and then you can put actual melted butter on your popcorn, it's still going to probably be like well, that was a big poop I just had, but it's not going to make you sick or want to vomit or like feel gross. It's just going to be like, well, that went through me a little faster than normal food would.
Okay.
You know?
Oh, okay.
Because
Well, I like
it's all the
popcorn
the oils and crap.
Yeah,
I love popcorn.
I love
Okay.
making it at home, though. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, make it at home. So
Yeah,
this is maybe a good time because I really want to make sure we get to be you being an herbalist too. And like,
when
this might be a good time.
Foraging is
filing.
like just going around your yard and finding things that you can eat
go in
your
your yard. You can go in the woods. So there's different. Every time I teach a foraging walk, people get like, if I have a group of people, they're really surprised. Like, I will go to somebody's house and within, I've spent the first 30 minutes within 20 feet of their back door. And they're like, what are you talking? They can't believe how much diversity is right there in their own backyard. I taught a foraging walk 3 weeks ago, and this just a small group of people. And we were in a parking lot that led to a trail, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a paved lot. It was like one of those stone dirt lots.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some forested area around it. And then you could see the trail going off through the woods. I swear to God, we stood there for 45 solid minutes talking in that parking lot about the diversity of plants that were right in and around that parking lot. We started going down the trail and it's like, okay, well, we found about 10 or 15 plants and then it's quietly walking for a little while because in the forest, at least this is how it tends to go for me. You find all these plants and then it's like the same plants over and over and over again for a good, couple of 100 feet or so. And once in a while you see something new, but when you get deeper into the forests are less diverse. There's still lots of like thousands of plants. Don't get me wrong. There's still thousands of plants, but there's less diversity inside the forest than there is like right on the edge, on the outside. That's where a lot of stuff grows, like in the fields or right on the edge of the forest. And a lot of the stuff that we like to eat or make medicine with does that too. Believe it or not, a lot of the most medicinal plants grow on the side of the road.
Away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like thousands of medicinal plants grow on the sides of the road. The problem is you don't want to harvest anything on the side of the road because of the crap that's coming off of cars and people are throwing garbage out there. I tell people don't ever harvest any wild plants within 20 feet of a road. The further back, the better. Some people say 40 feet. I'm just like bare minimum 20 feet of a road. Because then if you do that, like you're basically eating car fumes.
Got it.
And whatever came out of the vehicles. Yeah. So it's a bummer because I'll be driving down a road in June and see just tons, hundreds of elderberry bushes. And I'm like, oh my God, there's elderberries. I want to get the elderflowers. I want to get the berries. But they're 10 feet from the road. So you don't want to get those. They're really, it's a bummer.
I live in the woods. I live in a town called Woodbridge and my house has woods in the front and woods in the back. And I have a little garden that I made. So I'm going to have you come when you're not super busy. Come. And
this is foraging season. Like
so
you can,
fun.
I'll come down there and show you everything on your property. That's fine.
It just sounds so fun.
That'd be so cool.
I live in California and I want to find a forager here because I know there's tons of stuff here too. But would you
I used to live in California and that was one of the first. I started foraging when I was living in Washington State. And then we lived in California for a little while. And I remember I found wild strawberries by the beach in California.
Yeah. What part of California?
I was in like Half Moon Bay area.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay.
I love that area.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
And I remember seeing fennel growing on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So wild fennel.
I love fennel.
There were literally wild artichokes growing on the side of the road.
Wow.
So like you could go pick an artichoke off the side of the road. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So like I was still like a baby forager back then. I was like, if I recognized it, yeah, that's great. But I know a lot more now. But again, the things are different. So the plants are different. Like here in New England and then in the northeastern section of the United States, I definitely qualify as an expert forager. If I went over to like the Southwest, I wouldn't know what the heck I was looking at. Yeah. For the most part, or parts of California, I guarantee that there's a lot of plants I would recognize, but I'd still end up having to get a different guidebook or something, try to figure out, because the diversity 3,000 miles away from where I am, is so different.
Yeah. So,
but foraging wild food is also healthy for you. So,
of course. Yeah. So what's one, like if you could give our listeners, a lot of times our listeners are struggling with stress, right? And is there any like go-to herbs or wild foods that could help relieve stress?
Well, the first one I wanted to talk about briefly is an herb called stinging nettle, and it grows wild everywhere. It's not a stress reliever per se, but what it does is stinging nettle is one of the most highly nutritious plants on the planet. Like it has super duper ridiculously high content of vitamins and minerals. And if you are sick or you're a recovering alcoholic or you've got any kind of issues wrong with you, you could be either taking stinging nettle as a capsule or drinking stinging nettle tea or making even possibly a tincture or an infused vinegar or something. Get stinging nettle in your body in some capacity. And what it's going to do is start rebuilding your system.
Okay.
It's going to start making you feel better and helping you get, because a lot of the issues people have are actually vitamin deficiencies. They're not getting enough of certain vitamins, and stinging nettle can really, really help that a lot. So it's going to make you feel better in general and start healing your body in general just by drinking stinging nettle tea.
And you can buy that,
and it doesn't taste
you don't
bad.
have to find it in your yard.
You don't have to find it in your yard. No, you can buy it online. You can buy it actually, I think you can get stinging nettle tea at Walmart even. So it's
traditional
it's
medicinals has it, I believe, and they're
it's a very
local
very
for
like
me.
I actually there was a lady that has a farm like 10 minutes away, and I drove over to her farm and I spent like 3 hours picking a buttload of stinging nettle. So I picked a bunch of it myself this year. Spring and then late fall are the best times to pick it.
Okay.
And you need to use gloves because it's stinging nettle because it stings you.
And it's that really pretty purple bulb, right? A little flower or what? No. What does it look? No, can you describe it?
Well, stinging nettle is green. It's green. It's very, very green. They can get kind of tall. They grow in big patches, usually up to like 3-4 feet tall or maybe even taller sometimes. And the leaves are serrated. So they kind of look spiky, and if you accidentally brush against it, you are going to be hurting for a while.
So how do you pick it then? Is there a proper way to pick it?
Well, I'm nuts and I can do it with bare hands now, but I've got farmer hands. So if you're going to be picking a lot of it, put gloves on. You want just the tops. Like if you can find a big pat, you want the top like 4 to 6 leaves of it. And you just pick all the tops and fill your basket with them, and then you dry them. But yeah, it's stinging nettle because it stings you. It's got these little tiny hairs all over it.
I've been stung. Yeah, it's really spiky.
It's very spiky. Yeah, it's not. A lot of people hate that, but actually, another thing about stinging nettle is that like there's a way to treat arthritis with stinging nettle where you pick the just a big old stretch of it, and you basically whack yourself on the spot that you have arthritis. Like if you have arthritis on your elbow, you get a couple of fronds of stinging nettle and you start smacking yourself. It hurts like hell, and it gets all swollen. But the formic acid, which is what is the stinging part in those little hairs, gets into your skin and it stops the inflammation. So it stops your arthritis pain for like a good several weeks, if not a couple months.
No way. There's so much to learn from you, Amelia. I feel like I'm just like so excited. Yeah. Is there any other herbs you want to mention?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's some herbs that will help you. Like if you are really stressed out, you need to wind down at night. My favorite herb is Tulsi. Tuls. That's also known as holy basil. And there's a couple different varieties, but any of them, they all work. And it's as an herbalist, people expect me to drink a lot of herbal teas. And I will tell you right now, I'm kind of lame. I don't drink that much herbal tea. I drink a lot of black tea, but once in a while I'll have some herbal tea, unless I'm sick, and then I make myself some herbal tea. But the only other tea that I will have that's like just a fun and exciting, like happy one to have is Tulsi. And that's because it's so delicious and it's relaxing.
What does it taste like?
It's in the mint family. So it tastes kind of like a cross between mint and basil.
I've had it before. I loved it.
Oh, it's delicious. It's absolutely wonderful. I just planted seeds the other day. Oh, it's really good stuff. Yeah. You can grow it very easily yourself, especially in California. You should be able to grow it for a lot longer than me, because up here it's an annual. You can't keep growing it all year long.
Yeah. Okay.
But it tastes delicious and it's very relaxing. It's like, I can finally sit and do what I need to do. Linden is another herb that is relaxing. It's also cardioprotective, so it helps your heart. But linden is relaxing and slightly moistening, so that's another one. I put linden in a lot of my like relaxing and sleepy type teas. Just like chamomile. Chamomile is also relaxing, and a lot of people say, "Oh, chamomile tea to go to sleep." But if you just have like one little bag of chamomile tea from the grocery store, it's not going to be enough to really help you sleep. It might help take the edge off of something. With chamomile, for a medicinal type dose to really chill you out and knock you out, you need a lot of it. So you would need like 2 or 3 of those tea bags or like a big scoop of the dry chamomile and let it steep for like a solid half hour, 45 minutes. It's going to turn like a dark yellow. It's going to be kind of bitter and realistically, and then you drink that and you are knocked out for the night. So chamomile is a lot stronger than you think.
You know, Amelia, a lot of people, this is kind of a big issue when you go alcohol free and, you know, you're having some alcohol free days, you can't sleep. It's very common. So I'm going to suggest like chamomile, but make it really, really strong is what you're saying.
Really strong.
Yeah,
but
really
the thing
strong.
is, it's going to be bitter. That people don't like the bitter flavor, but if you just knock it back as fast, think of it like a shot and knock it back.
Chamomile
it's going to knock you out. Yeah. There is another one that I will say, like, if you are having such a horrible, ridiculously bad day, and this doesn't grow around here, I think it grows in like the Pacific
Northwest
Islands or somewhere.
Pacific
Anyway,
Islands,
there's an herb called kava.
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 If you've ever had kava tea, that is the closest thing I've ever experienced to like being drunk.
Really?
Is like the drink that tea, and it's not going to hurt you. It's not. You don't want to drink that and then take a vehicle somewhere because you'll not. Yeah, it's not a good idea. But if you're at the end of the night and you're like still dying for booze or something because you're still in that mindset, drink a cup of kava tea instead, and it will like. It's like you're vibrating and it's like weird. It's some strong stuff. It'll knock
I've
you
had
out.
it. Yeah, I love it. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
I it's too strong for me, honestly. I'm like, I don't have that much of a like. I get stressed sometimes, but not stressed enough for kava.
Well, when I went to Sedona, Arizona last year on a trip, and they have like actual kava bars, like kava. It's like a coffee bar, but it was all kava, and so it's really good. And we have it here in where I live. I live in Sebastopol, California, which is can be hippy dippy, and we have kava, a lot of kava.
For a good reason. That's because other people know about it. It's gonna knock you out.
Wow.
Another couple of herbs, like say, milky oats is another one that's so milky oats. You know what oats are, right? Yeah. Everybody eats oatmeal and everything. The oats are actually like the seed of, you know, so when the plant it's on a little stalk and then it puts out these little seeds right before the seeds like harden up and turn into what we know as oats. Before that stage, they're in this green, still green, not quite turned into a seed yet. And if you squeeze them, they let out this like milky white substance, kind of like a latexy kind of like the same, similar to what if you pick a dandelion and that white stuff that comes out of dandelion. Yeah. So it's like that. And milky, you want to pick them at that stage, and that people will pick them fresh and make a tincture with it. Okay. So milky oats tincture with those fresh milky oats, that calms you down. That is very relaxing, especially if you're like really psyched out, freaked out. I've got so much going on. I actually had like, I think, was it a teaspoon, maybe 2 teaspoons worth of it the other night because I was just so freaking stressed out. Something broke and I'm like, oh, and I had some
this is so good
nice.
Because this is such the reason, at least for me, that I would reach for alcohol. And now I usually am using tapping or havening or something like that to like
tapping's fantastic too.
Nervous system back. But to have a tea or something like that to go turn to too, you just want to have a resource where you're just not using the tool.
Yeah, and
alcohol
sometimes you
anymore.
want to sit there and drink something. So it's like, okay, tea's good. A lot of the mocktails that I've seen. So if you've ever like Googled herbal mocktails, there's some places that make these herbal mocktails. And one of the most common herbs that they put in those mocktails is called motherwort. It's Leonurus cardiaca, motherwort. You just need to be careful with motherwort because motherwort lowers your blood pressure. The reason it calms you down is because it's lowering your blood pressure. A lot of people that are really stressed out, your blood pressure jacks up really high. I personally naturally have low blood pressure. I always have my whole life. I've had low blood pressure. Yeah. So if I take motherwort, I got to take just a little tiny bit. If I take a little bit too much motherwort, I'm going to my blood pressure is just going to tank. Yeah. So if you're the kind of person that has high blood pressure naturally, motherwort might be a great herb for you to reach anyway, because you're probably really stressed out all the time, or, that's
just have a high
contributing to your high blood pressure. Yeah. But motherwort can help you with that. And put a few drops in some soda water or something. I don't want
Okay.
anybody to drink soda, but like if that's what your jam is.
Yeah.
Sparkling water.
So mother wort
Amelia.
can help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you
Oh my
so
gosh,
much for
so
all of this
great.
information. This has been so exciting to just hear all this and learn from you. And this is the time at the end of our episode where we ask our listeners and our guests, like, what do you do to feel lit, alcohol free? What do you do, Amelia? I'm so curious.
I'm a barefoot lady. So I
What?
like being barefoot as often as physically possible. Obviously, you can't do that in the dead of winter here in Connecticut, but basically from March through probably Thanksgiving, I'm barefoot as often as possible. I only put shoes on if I have to go into a store because they won't let you if you don't put shoes on. So I hike barefoot. I go in the woods hiking with no shoes on, and it's wonderful. Feeling the earth under your feet, grounding in general is wonderful.
Yeah.
So I will go barefoot hiking, just surrounding myself in the woods with my feet touching the earth is the most relaxing thing, especially if I get in the middle of the woods. The most relaxing thing I've ever experienced.
Here. I am just like that, Amelia. I love it. And Susan's starting to do that.
Yes. I just started grounding. I go out in my backyard every morning and every evening and walk around in my bare feet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I garden barefoot. I farm barefoot. It's wonderful.
Yes.
And then, you really, it starts, honestly, once you start doing that, and a lot of people are afraid to do that, right? A lot of people are afraid to start going hiking. Well, what if there's, dog poop on the
Stickers.
trail?
Yeah.
So step over it. Don't step on the dog poop. If there's, I have stepped on a thorn before. It sucks. It's not fun to step on a thorn. Okay.
Yeah.
I will admit that. I've stepped on a bee and gotten stung.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful and you have to accept that there is a little bit of risk. Usually there's nothing that's going to kill you. You do have to be careful if you're going certain trails. Some people are, a-holes and they leave bottles on the broken bottles and things like
broken
that.
glass.
So I don't appreciate the people that are disrespecting nature like that, but you got to be careful where you're stepping. But one of the good things about hiking barefoot is that because you're aware that you have to be careful where you're stepping. So you're watching the ground, you're looking up every now and then, but you're watching the ground and watching where you place your feet, and you're putting a little bit more care and mindfulness into where you pick up and put your foot down. And it's actually more of a workout than a normal hike.
Okay.
Wow.
Because you have to, by necessity, you have to move a little bit more slowly. So you're getting a little bit more movement and a little bit more muscle strength built up in your legs and thighs and butt and everything, because you're being very mindful of where you're putting your foot down, so as not to hurt
and
yourself.
you build, so I was doing this for now over a year, what I call earthing. And your feet get really calloused and you can just eventually just walk.
Oh yeah.
It's
My
way,
feet are gross.
At first it was hard. I was like, ow, 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 ow. And then like after a few weeks, I'm like, hey, I could just walk, on the rocks now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So cool.
Oh, that's great.
Well, Amelia, this has been super wonderful. And just real quick, where can our listeners connect with you? Where can they find you? And we will put it in the show notes too. Yeah.
Okay. So my where you can get links to everything is blacksunfarmct.com. That's my main website.
Okay.
And I have links to all my social media. So again, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. If you anywhere Black Sun Farm or Black Sun Farm CT. So Black Sun Farm CT on Facebook. On TikTok, I'm at the original Meal Chan. And I know that doesn't make any sense with anything else, but it's because when I started doing TikTok, I was doing it for funsies.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to do this for a little while. And then all of a sudden, boom, I have a following. And I'm like, well, crap, I can't change my name now.
Okay. TikTok, it doesn't really matter what your name is,
Yeah, like they're like, they don't care. They just follow me. And then, I've got like over 100,000 followers on TikTok now. So it's to the point where like there's other people will steal my account and steal my name and all that other crap.
No,
So
I hate that.
that happens. But I'm the only one. I'm the real one. And I have another website where I teach classes, Herbal Remedies by Amelia.com. So all my classes and things that I teach. So
wow.
yeah,
I'm
you're
looking
welcome
you
to get a
up.
hold
I'm
of
going
me.
to take a class because I can come visit you because we're in the same state. And that doesn't
Yeah,
happen very
absolutely.
often. It's like Connecticut. People are like, where's that?
Yeah.
That's
I know. Yeah.
This has been such a pleasure. So fun. And I've learned so much from you. And I think our listeners are going to love this and they can reach out to you.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Thank you.
Good luck.
It was nice being here. Thank you.
Good luck with your summer farming. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Got to go plant things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, Amelia.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Feel Lit Alcohol Free Podcast. Do you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show?
All you need to do is head over to Apple Podcasts and do 2 simple things. Leave a rating and review telling us what you think of the show, and in that review, ask us any questions you have about breaking free from wine or living an alcohol-free lifestyle.
That's it. Then tune in to hear your question answered live. Don't forget to grab your copy of A Wine-Free Weekend at www.feelitpodcasts.com.
And remember, do something today that will help you feel lit.
See you next time.